Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting each episode by saying how grateful I am for this episode. I've really felt guided with this podcast and everything we do, the success and the people it's reaching, the messages we get on a weekly basis. I'm so feeling so blessed. So thank you everyone that supported it. And it's a quick intro for me. I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. I love what I get to do. I get to guide people to release the programming, to become their authentic selves, to shine their light. It just feels like a beautiful time to do it. It feels like the planet is going through a massive shift, and we'll talk much more about that in this episode. But this podcast won't be where it is today without my co-host. And just so you know, we're actually in the same room. So if you do hear any echoes, apologies. But Stacey's in the UK for a few months, but she's with me for a few days. And we thought we'd record in person. So introducing the amazing, the stunning, the hero extraordinaire, and published author, Stacey Brown.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm excited to be in a completely different dynamic than what we're used to. We're used to being in our own spaces recording, and today we're lucky enough to be in the same room recording. So it's exciting. Friends, my name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader, a spiritual coach and mentor, and a recently published author. My book, Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender, is available on Amazon and Audible.
Thank you, Stace. So actually, we're recording this. Normally, we record at least a week in advance, but this week we decided to record the day before. So we're recording this on Sunday the 12th, and I'll release this on the morning of the 13th. 13th is a full moon. 11th, yesterday was the 111 portal, but also where every 18 months the node shifts. So the north and south node shifted yesterday, and the nodes are all around our energy and our destiny. And so the north node shifted into Pisces and the south into Virgo. All that to mean that there's so much shifting happening around us. The full moon tomorrow is really an emotional one. So we thought we'd talk about navigating the collective energy shifts. It just felt really appropriate right now because there's so much energy shifting. And I just thought it'd be great for us to talk about it at a little bit more of a deeper level. I mean, you've heard us talk about it before. We talk about it in most episodes. And you probably heard me say that I feel like we're shifting from divine masculine to divine feminine. And the shift is really, masculine is all about control, power. Kind of what you do as a career and kind of all the politics and all of that sort of stuff, money. Whereas divine feminine is all about the heart. Of course, you've got how you're shining your light, using your gifts, what you're sharing with the world is all part of it. And I really do feel like this time has been planned for many, many centuries. And if you look around the world, there's so much crisis, so much chaos. And it really does feel like there is so many shifts, there's so many things breaking down. And anyone that's going through something, I'm sending you love and light. This is a time, like I said, it feels like it was planned, where so much is breaking down. And we have to remember that things need to break down to be rebuilt. And that's what I feel is happening now. And I think for the next couple of years, things are going to continue to break down. We're going to hear things, we're going to learn things. But we're also going to be pushed to do more of our internal healing. And I feel like the choices we're going to have to make in this time, whether you call it ascension, whether you call it shifting from third to the fifth dimension, whatever words you want to use on the human plane, there's going to be so much noise externally that could consume you. But also there's a lot happening internally. And that's where I encourage you to focus. That doesn't mean you can ignore everything that's happening. I'm just asking you not to let it consume you. And that's what I feel that the shift that we're moving into now. And January for me is still kind of I call it a hangover from 2024. February, I feel like we'll start to feel different. I still feel it's going to be pushing us and kind of expanding us, and there's going to be chaos on the planet, but we will feel the newness. It'll kind of build up to the spring equinox when really the new year starts. And this is what I'm saying. I'm encouraging you to focus on the internal. Focus on listening to your heart rather than your head. And that's really, we'll dive deeper into lots of things that are going on this year and kind of energetically how we feel. Just want to ask Stacey, how are you feeling about the energy right now?
I feel like it's extremely intense. And I think if we just look at the state of our world right now and what's happening, I mean, it would be kind of reckless to not mention the fires in California right now and the way that people's lives are being completely upended. We're seeing so much happening in the world that I think if we don't focus on what's happening internally, we could very easily get lost in what's happening on the planet and having it consume us. And I think there's a balance you have to find between the two, right? You want to have compassion and understanding for what people are going through, and you want to be educated on what's happening in the world. But I also think there needs to be boundaries, that we're focusing on what's happening with us internally more than we are what's happening externally. And I'm feeling conflicted. I feel like there's a lot of suffering right now and a lot of chaos and turmoil. And I think that it's happening internally for people as well as they're experiencing these external shifts. So I think we have a lot going on, Nimesh. I think there's a lot happening in the world that is impacting people. And I think people are churning, and a lot of shifts happening for people, whether it's, on the quest for a new job or seeking better health or better family dynamics, better relationships. I feel like we're all working towards something, but there's so much happening that we're trying to balance what we need personally with what's happening in the world.
Yeah, and I can't, it's really, we were talking about this yesterday. I really can feel the emotion on the planet. And it's interesting, right? Sometimes I feel it consumes me, and I'm sending so much love out to everyone that's in pain. I mean, I look at the fires in California at the moment, and just crazy, right? I mean, then you look at all the wars and the impact in the different areas, and then you look at other weather, kind of this impact, and then you look at some of the individuals and the egos are being shattered. There is a lot happening, and it's it's hard to not let it consume you. It's hard, and I'm not telling you not to let it impact you. I'm not telling you not to let it. I'm just asking you not to let it consume you. And the way I choose to do it is I choose to send love to whoever needs it. And that's part of what I can do, right? I can choose to send love and trust that it has an impact. I can't control if it has an impact, but that's kind of what I choose to do. And like I was saying earlier, there is astrologically, there's so much happening in this period. There's probably more activity in 2025 than there has been for many years, and it's just it just feels like it's the acceleration of the shift that's happening on the planet. And it's important for me to remind everybody that as a soul, you chose to be here at this time. You chose to, as a soul, be part of this transition. And it's important that you recognize that, because that does a couple of things. One, it helps you to understand that it was a choice. I'm sure for a lot of you, you've kind of felt that you don't belong. You felt like you really didn't want to be here. And it's important to know that it was a choice on a soul level. And on the flip side, anyone that's here right now, I really feel like your soul's been through a lot. and you are needed and you're wanted and you're part of this collective shift. And that doesn't mean that whatever you decide to do, and I feel like people are going to be in the middle, whether you kind of let the outside noise consume you or focus on the inside. I feel like everyone's going to try and do both. But it's just that acceptance that everything you're going through is part of your journey, part of your soul's journey. It's also part of the collective shift. It's really interesting. Everyone talks about, we're all part of one energy, etc. We are. I believe that. Again, it's just my belief. I believe we're all part of one energy, one vibration. But at the same time, we have our own soul journey, which is part of the collective. So it means we need to do our bit. So how are you riding this new wave? How are you? New Year normally brings lots of excitement, lots of New Year's resolutions. I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, etc. But I am feeling this energetic shift, and I have felt it. I've been talking about it for a few months. And when we talked about this topic, Stacey, we were kind of talking about it and what we're going to talk about and stuff. And you kind of asked me, I'm not sure what I could say. And I'm like, well, for me, you're a perfect example of somebody who's actually living this energetic shift in your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it was really kind of a perfect topic for us to talk about. I know you talked about what you're going through in previous episodes, but once you add to it the fact it's in the year, actually the fact that you're in the UK, how are you feeling about, from a personal perspective, the energetic shift and how it's impacting you?
There's sometimes on this podcast where I'm put on the spot and I'm like, I just want to say, and I'm just going to have to say it. Like, I'm scared shitless. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I have kind of upended my whole life, and I'm doing it because I don't believe we're meant to stay in a box and do things a certain way that we've been doing them our whole lives and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I have felt really called to come to this space and be in the UK for a period of time, even though everyone around me thinks I'm crazy. This is something that I just feel I need to do. And I moved to a smaller location from my condo so that I would have a landing spot in the US. And then I jumped on a plane and I'm here in the UK for the next 3 months. And I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen beyond that. I just know that I'm on this mission to explore and discover more about myself and what I'm here on this planet to do. And it's not just about, finding love. I mean, I've found a great partner and that's amazing, but it's also about finding myself and embarking on this new season in a way where I can be open to whatever's going to happen. And it's a huge trust fall. This is a huge trust fall for me to walk away from day-to-day life as I know it and enter into a space of the unknown for several months and what that looks like, and trusting that I'm going to have answers in the coming months that I don't have now. That's been big, right? Like I don't know. I don't know what's next. I don't know what to anticipate or expect. I'm just kind of allowing things to unfold in whatever way they're meant to. And I recognize that there could be pain in this process as well. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There could be some hurt, there could be some challenges, but I'm open to it and I'm open to facing this new season and seeing what it brings for me. And I want that for everyone. I want us all to, if we're stuck in a rut find our way out of it. And I've talked to so many clients lately who have said they feel stuck right now. And I don't feel stuck, but it's taken me stepping out of the day-to-day bubble to reach this space. And I don't know if the average person is crazy enough to do what I'm doing. You know, I don't know.
I've never seen these average days, so but you know, let's not assume that everybody has heard you speak about it before. So give us more context as to what you're doing in the UK.
So, I came to the UK and visited you for the first time a couple of years ago, and I had never left the country. I had never left the States. And as soon as I came here, I felt connected. I felt a connection here to this area, to this space, to this place that I couldn't really explain. And I embarked on a journey of writing my book here, we developed our mentorship program here. Like, all of these magical things happened to me while I was here, just things that shifted me and shifted my life. And I continued to feel drawn here, but never thought about moving here. Although a lot of people in my life saw the connection that I had here and would ask me, are you going to move here? Are you going to move here? And I was like, no, I'm not going to move here. Like, I love it here, but I'm not going to move here. And I fell in love. I fell in love with a guy who lives in the countryside in the UK. And he has a business to run here and 2 young children. And I have my kids in the US. And we've just been navigating how we're going to embark on a journey of being together and what that looks like. And so I made the decision to come here for an extended period of time and experience what life would look like being here full time. And I feel like it's hard to make such a massive life decision without having some experience to see what it's like. And so I decided, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to embark on this journey, see what it's like, and take this trust fall and experience life with, his name is Barney, experience life with Barney and see what that's like. And then from there, I still have to go back to the US. I have responsibilities there and things I need to work out. But this is giving me a taste of what life would look like if I made this decision. And it's going to really help me to figure out next steps that I might not otherwise be able to figure out. So yeah, it's been an interesting process. It's been a scary one, but it's exciting at the same time because I'm being brave and doing something that I never thought I would do.
Wow. And I was just looking at what episode. So Barney has been a guest on this episode. It's episode 182. So if you're curious and you want to learn more about Barney, then do listen to that episode. He's a beautiful soul. And Stacey, thank you. I love putting you on the spot, so thank you for sharing so vulnerably, as you always do. But you made some really important points, right? It's this period could also be being painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of people think about 2024 and think it's been such an energetic ride and so much has happened. There's so many kind of soul contracts completing, and it's just, I guess the only easiest way for me to say that is I feel like it's going to carry on. But I do feel it's going to be different. And I do feel like we're going to be between 2024 was about closing a lot of karmic cycles, and this period, I feel, is all going to be about us doing our own healing. And, Stacey talked about it, right? She was talking about her journey and kind of discovering who she is, kind of being here for 3 months, changing your orbit. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody's as brave as you are, Stacey. But it is, the important part of this phase is getting to know this new version of you. What are you holding on to? What do you need to heal? Having an honest conversation with yourself. Because I feel like if you don't do that, the universe is going to force you to do it. So, ask questions like, how do you really feel? What are you holding on to? What relationships in your life are no longer serving you? Where is soul contracts complete? I always say things like pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And the suffering part comes when you stay in the soul contract system that's been complete, when you stay in a situation that's complete. And I feel like, if you look at yourself as maybe as being the star of the show, kind of the Disney prince or the princess, and just look at everyone playing the roles in your life and know that they're playing the roles that you asked them to play. And then look at each role and just ask, well, hold on, is my soul contract with this person complete? Can I be my authentic self with them? Or do I need to be somebody else? Because your answers are inside you. And this really is a period of self-reflection. And Stacey, that's why I thought this is a perfect time to talk about this, because of what you're going through. It's a perfect example, right? And for me, it's been a year since I've left the corporate environment. It's a year since I kind of dedicated and decided to dedicate what I do to guiding people to truly shine the light. And it has been a year of a roller coaster. I feel a lot of shifts in me. And I don't know, I'm sure everyone can relate, I don't know what the future holds. It kind of excites me because I know I chose to be here and I know that things are shifting. But yeah, at the same time, there is I wouldn't call it a fear, it's an uneasiness. Let's call it an uneasiness about what's coming. And that's natural. If you weren't feeling uneasy about what's coming, then you're probably kidding yourself again. So through this time, the biggest thing I can recommend, apart from listening to podcasts, I'm just joking by the way, but is to really spend time with you. Spend time in meditation, spend time in just, how do you really feel, and having honest conversations with yourself, journaling about it, shifting from I think to I feel. It really is a time for you. You're being pushed to truly get to know this version of you. And know that all the things you're going through externally, in many ways, are your guides giving you nudges and giving you messages about what's happening inside you. And really the question is, are you listening? And I'm sure for many people listening to this episode, you feel the collective energy. I mean, I was talking to Stacey about it yesterday. We went to, in the UK it's called a shopping centre, in the US it's called a shopping mall. But it's like when we were there, I could feel everybody's energy and everybody going through so much, and it is consuming. And I guess the reason I say that is being also conscious about where you're spending your time. So spend time with you, listening to you, but also where are you spending your time? What are you focused on? Because whatever you focus on expands. So who are you spending time with? Where are you spending time? What are you watching? What are you listening to? And again, we say this on this podcast all the time, but it just feels now so much more important.
Feels more important than ever to make your self-care a priority. I realized when we were at the shopping mall that I had forgotten to bring my journal with me here to the UK, which is like shocking because my journal goes with me everywhere. And so we stopped and got a journal, and I fully intend to document my journey as much as possible, not just on social media, not just on my platforms, but like for me personally, taking a deep dive into what I'm going through. And there's so much power in writing. It gives you a space to process things you might not otherwise process, and can really be a powerful tool. And I know that we've talked about it a lot on here, but you don't have to take a lot of time to be introspective. It can be a few moments in your day, but it is something that I really believe can help you to process things on a deeper level with yourself when you don't know how to have that conversation with yourself.
So true. Yeah, it's that it's all part of getting to know you on the inside. The time in silence that I talked about kind of helps you to understand and kind of who you are and what's happening inside. Asking yourself those questions and going deep on how you really feel. Doing those two things, you need a vehicle to release the things you're holding on to, right? And journaling is a great way of of doing that. So I would 100% agree. And I know the UK is getting cold, but wherever you are, try and spend some time outside. Because it's like, look at Stacey's situation, right? She recognized that her home environment she had to do something different to truly find ourselves. Not everybody can do that, I get that. But spending even a little bit of time away from your normal location allows you to feel the newness of who you are. And, so change your orbit. Spend some time in nature. And if it is too cold, then just spend a bit of time in a coffee shop don't go to, or just, if you can, and it's not too cold, then sure, spend some time in nature, spend some time in the park, or go for a drive, or do something that allows you to be in your own energy. Because the thing is that your ego and everything you've been through, your emotional roller coaster, is strongest at home. And when you spend time outside your orbit, you get to know you at a deeper level. It's like going on holiday. Why do people feel relaxed and there's a release as soon as you go on holidays? Because sure, it's great. You're on the beach, great views, and all the rest of it, depending where you go. But it's also you're feeling the energy and the vibration, the freedom of being in a different location. So again, I get it. Not everybody can go on holiday, right? It's always, but just even going for a walk in an area, obviously be safe, but in an area that you don't normally go to, that allows you to connect to you. I sometimes I feel like we really complicate this spiritual journey, and doing simple things like changing your environment, truly having an honest conversation with yourself, and sitting with your energy and your vibration, getting to love you. Because the other question to ask yourself is, how do you feel about spending time with you? If you always have to have people around you, then what that usually means is there's healing that you're ready to do, but there's a part of you that's running away from it. And sure, you can do healing when you're around others in terms of the conversations you have and just be this. But there's so much more power in you getting used to you. If you can't be comfortable in your own energy, spending time with you, then how can you expect others to want to spend time with you? Maybe that's a hard thing to hear, but it is. You have changed so much, you've been through so much, so you have to spend time to get to know you. You have to spend time to get to fall in love with you. So Stacey, as we go through this phase and as we're having this conversation, journaling, time in nature and all the rest of it is really important. Anything else comes to mind for you that can help people navigate this part of their journey?
So I think we get in a routine that is predictable and expected. We get up every morning and we probably do the same thing. Like I get up in the morning, right? Roll out of bed, take my medicine, take my shower, get dressed. We do the same thing every day, day in and day out. And I think sometimes we can get lost in the habit of how we do things instead of doing it consciously and mixing it up and thinking about, is what I'm doing really serving me? Right. And I think a lot of us are that way. We just do things out of habit. Like if you were to ask, what do you do in a day, your day-to-day routine? I bet a lot of us would be like, I do the same thing day in and day out, right? I get up, I get showered, I get dressed, and I go to work, and then I come home and I make dinner and I go to bed, and then I get up and I do the same thing again. And to me, there's something that needs to happen where we get introspective and evaluate what we're doing to make sure that it's actually serving us, right? Is it for our highest good? Am I doing it out of habit, or am I doing it because my soul is calling me to do it? And I think there's a lot of us that are walking through life right now in this kind of fog or this haze and not really being conscious about the decisions that we're making. Like, am I really satisfied with what I'm doing? And I bet if we were to take a poll right now, a lot of people would say they are not satisfied with what they're doing. And I wasn't satisfied with what I was doing. I lived in this great condo, right, that I had worked really hard to get. And I found myself being really isolated. And it led me to feeling like I wasn't the healthiest version of myself. And so I had to really take a look at that and say, okay, what needs to change in order for me to be a healthier person? How do I need to shift this? And the biggest thing was I knew that I needed more access to my daughter. If I was going to be in the US, the whole reason I'm in the US is to be with her. I need as much time with her as possible. And so now I've made that happen where I have more time with her when I'm in the US because I live with her full time. And it's a decision that other people might judge or look at and say, are you crazy? But for me, I knew that what I was doing wasn't working for my highest good. And so it didn't matter what other people saw or thought or felt. It mattered that I needed to feel good with where I was. And I didn't. I didn't. I didn't feel good with where I was. And I didn't feel good with how my life was going day to day. And now I'm doing things to bring that like full circle and say, okay, I'm not happy with what I was doing. What needs to change? And for me, my living environment needed to change. And I needed to start exploring what I actually wanted for my life. And I've been thinking a lot about death. And I think it's because like just various people in my life have experienced loss recently. And I just keep thinking like, I don't want to live with regret. If I didn't take this trip, I would always wonder, what if? What if I had gone to the UK? What if it had been an amazing experience? What if there was more for me to learn about myself? And I would take that with me till my dying day. But right now, with what I'm doing, I know that I'm living a life that I'm not going to have those regrets, that I'm consciously deciding what I want to do and exploring it. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay too. That's a lesson, right? And that's going to help guide me in the direction of what is actually for me, because I'm exploring my options and I'm being open to things looking different than what I might have expected them to. So it's a weird place to be because I know that I'm being true to myself, but I also know that I'm ruffling feathers while I'm doing it.
There's so much wisdom in what you said there. It's really is a perfect example of how to handle the current energy. It's the realization that you have to put you first, and that may mean that people disagree with your decisions. It may mean that you may trigger people, but always understand that we're not here to stop people's pain. So if we trigger somebody, maybe that's what we're meant to do. Maybe that trigger will help them to heal. But everything we've been talking about is really about you being present in this journey and being honest with yourself. So if that means that you need to follow your dreams and you need to follow your passions and do something which takes you out and totally changes your world, then this energetic shift is a perfect time to do it. So if you are being called to do something, to move or to start a new career, maybe what you're doing from a day-to-day perspective doesn't resonate with you anymore, then ask what excites you. Now, it's a personal choice. I'm not telling you to leave your job tomorrow or kind of move to a different country for 3 months tomorrow. But whatever resonates with you, you have to take responsibility for you. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for somebody else to do something? Are you waiting for, I'll give you my work example is I knew for a couple of years I needed to leave the corporate world. But there was part of me that's like, I've been at this company for 17 years or whatever it was. Wouldn't it be nice to get a package? So I was hoping they were going to make some redundancies, and I waited and I waited, and it got to a point I just couldn't stay. There was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing that, it was a nice place to work or whatever, but I just knew that I couldn't stay in that environment. So what are you being pushed to do? And everything we've been talking about, meditation, time in silence, kind of changing, it really is all about you getting to know you. Because this is a time where people are going to be uncomfortable. This is going to be a time where things are shifting inside you. And that doesn't always mean your external world changes in many, many ways like Stacey's. But look around you. How many people have, kind of ended relationships and things like that? That's the end of a soul contract, right? It's like, for me, a soul contract, when you get, let's take a relationship soul contract. When you get together, you are aligned. You have similar dreams or whatever that may look like. But then you individually go on your healing journey, things start to shift, and that may mean that sometimes you drift apart. But also it means that what you were meant to learn together as a couple may have also come to an end. And then that means that you then go your separate ways. And then again, let's say you have kids, that doesn't mean that you don't have a soul contract with that person as parent, being shared parenting, whatever you want to call it. But it means your soul contract's different. So this is really the time where things are shifting to such a radical degree that it is about endings and beginnings. It is about getting to know the new you. So that's really what this whole episode is about, is really embracing this energy. Healing through introspection, kind of asking yourself and how much you've shifted and getting to know this new, kind of asking yourself, what do you love doing? What is the things that lights your fire? And then doing the things we talked about, meditation, journaling, grounding exercises, being mindful in chaos. Let's be honest, there is a lot of chaos around us personally and in the world. And the more that you can do some of the things that we talked about, allows you to center yourself and be present. And then the last thing is probably the hardest, trusting the process. How much, if you're trying to control what's coming next, that's where it's going to get uncomfortable. Just look at the last few years realistically. How much control have we had, realistically? And if you can trust the process of whatever's coming next, that doesn't mean you don't take action. We've talked about it, right? Doing meditations, doing journaling, all that sort of stuff. You've got to take action. You've got to get to know you. But at the same time, what if you let go of what the outcome should look like? What if you truly let go of what's coming next and just ride the wave? Take some action. Obviously, if you want to start a new business, start building that business. But it's finding the balance of control and controlling the immediate future over controlling the long term. Mm-hmm. I really believe we don't have that much control of the long term, but we do have control over this moment, over whatever we currently focusing on. So Stacey, when I ask you about, you talked about it, but letting go and truly riding the wave. You've taken some decisions to come in the UK and all that, so you've taken some action. Mm-hmm. But if I say to you, okay, this next phase, it really is a trust fall. Mm-hmm. How does that sound to you, and what would be your guidance to others?
I mean, it is a trust fall, right? I have no idea what's next. I have no idea what this season is going to look like. I can make guesses or assumptions, but very rarely do things turn out the way that we expect them to. So it's taken a lot of letting go and letting go of controlling the outcome and saying, I'm open to whatever the universe wants to show me, right? What does God want for me? Like, I don't know. And this is going to be me figuring it out. And so it's blind faith. It's saying, I have no idea what's next, but I'm going to trust that the universe is going to support me in whatever is coming my way. And that I'm going to be strong enough to handle whatever the lesson is, right? Like that whatever is meant for me is truly going to find me. And regardless of what the outcome of the experience, I will get from it the lessons that I'm meant to.
It's powerful. The last statement, I will get the lessons I'm meant to. That is really the important part, is nothing is missing. You are exactly where you're meant to be, and everything you're going through is part of that journey. That's the difficulty. If you're going through something difficult, and I say to you, look, everything in your external is a result of something internal, it can trigger you, right? It's like, well, why? But I truly believe the universe will never give you anything you can't handle. So truly do take this energy, ride the wave, Be honest with yourself. Spend time with you. We'll always say, look, if something in our voice resonates with you, reach out. We can guide you maybe through the mentorship programs, through an Akashic record reading, book a discovery call. We're happy to have a chat. Maybe we can connect and guide you this time. It really is a beautiful time to reach out and to connect with people and to look for mentors, to look for guidance, look for communities. Because that's the other thing with this shift is I feel like we're moving into a phase where community is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So look for communities, look for nurturing spaces. You are surrounded by love by your guides. Allow them to hold your space, allow them to guide you, allow them to nudge you. Stacey, as we close out this episode, any final bits of advice and any general prompts for our listeners?
I would encourage our listeners to sit down with your journal and ask yourself, are you doing things out of habit, or are you doing them because you feel like you're meant to? Are you living your life fully? When was the last time you took a trust fall? When was the last time you took a risk and allowed the universe to show you what it has in store for you? Really take some time, friends, to be introspective. I mean, I never could have come to this decision without that quiet time and that quiet space. And me taking that time and getting still with myself was what led me on this journey. And there are days where I still have to get still with myself on a regular basis and check in. So check in with yourself, is how you're living the way you want to be living? Is what you're doing what feels aligned with you? And if it's not, what are you doing to seek out the answers? What are you doing to be guided on the journey to finding more? It's up to you.
Thanks, Stacey. Wise words. And, as we close this episode, if you are listening to this on the day I release it, Monday, the 13th, and today's a full moon. And, using things like the full moon is also a beautiful time to heal. Allow the moon to energize you. We do have once a month, we have a free webinar, which happens to be today on Monday the 13th. It is on the full moon, so we'll do a full moon meditation. We open the Akashic records and we share a group message. It is a beautiful way to connect with a like-minded community, so I will include the link in the show notes. Join us if you can. And like I said, reach out if we can help. Sending you all so much love and light. Ride the wave and embrace this energy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Sending love and light. Bye for now.